And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on air host and author, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome today the dynamic duo known as Rachel McGuire, here to give us the inside scoop on their brand new book out tomorrow, On the Surface. Ladies, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Thanks so much, Sara. Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here. On the surface, hold it up, product placement. It's our debut novel. It's a travel thriller set in the Bahamas. It's in the cruiser community. And normally, when you hear the word cruiser, you think of like giant white ship, 10,000 passengers, like fist fight breaking out in the buffet line on the Lido deck. And that's not the type of cruisers in this book. We're talking about the type of cruisers. It's a community of people that live aboard small boats, sort of traveling from place to place. Um, so they would like be on a small sailboat, like no crew, no personal chef, no like Leonardo DiCaprio skulking about on deck. Is just like living off the grid, going from place to place, sort of like an RV lifestyle or like a van life kind of thing, but on the water. So it was actually Rachel, my co-author, that first saw these videos that on YouTube of cruisers depicting their at sea lifestyle, and they use the videos, their social media channels, to fund their way of life. And like we were both like immediately drawn to the dramatic prospects of this setting, because you have all these sort of like fringe personality types like that might be drawn to this off the grid living. Like you might have an adventure seeking personality who's drawn to like dangerous behavior, and you might have a kind of normalish person who just loves to travel, but then maybe some antisocial personality types that are like trying to get free of the strictures of normal society, and then maybe some like people who are attracted to the lawlessness of life at sea, and then maybe some people are running from their past. So you have this like kind of volatile combination of personalities. And then we were imagining what would happen if a crime was committed in this community where people don't really know each other, because you might all be moored in the same area geographically, but you don't have a shared history, so you don't really know that much about your boat neighbors. And that kind of brought up the idea of like in an investigation, like how do the police handle like the possibility, like every single suspect you have, every potential witness lives on a means of transportation that can just like take them out of the jurisdiction at a moment's notice. And that's like so incredibly complicating and devilish that we thought like, oh, this would be like an amazing setting for a book. And that was the inspiration for On the Surface. So it tells the story of Danny Fox, who's a social media influencer who lives on board a sailboat with her boyfriend, Sawyer Stone. And one night they're going to a party with other cruisers. There's a bunch of sailboats rafted together off the coast of a Bahamian island. They attend the party, and that night Danny goes missing. But being a social media influencer, she has already uploaded a bunch of videos to YouTube, scheduled for later playing online. And when they do come online, the police can use the additional context and clues to start investigating her disappearance. Um, but then the, uh, uh, the being online also means that the public is brought into this investigation in that way of all of a sudden you have the story goes viral. So many people are brought in, these true crime aficionados that become this army of armchair detectives that insert themselves into the investigation and cause a bunch of chaos. And as we sort of see the theories that they generate about Danny's disappearance and the ways in which the investigation is complicated, we unravel all these twists and turns to try and figure out what happened to Danny. And that's the story. It's like a very fast-paced, plot-driven, easy read. Like there's some social commentary in there, but it's like very much in the realm of like a fun beach read. And we were so happy to have Amazon editors pick On the Surface as best mystery thriller suspense novel for July. So that was super exciting as debut authors to get that kind of recognition. And we're so glad to be here to answer questions about the book. Thanks for having us.
Yay! We're so excited to chat with you. Okay, so if you're new, welcome. We're so happy to have you. And if you're not new, you know how it goes here on Mystery Mondays. So just get your questions going in the comments, and I will get them right over to Leanne and Rachel, who are the dynamic duo that makes up a Rachel McGuire, double the trouble and triple the fun. So let's jump right into the questions. We have Erica joining us from YouTube. She says, hola from Mexico. Hola, Erica. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Renee joining us from Florida. Hi, Renee. So good to have you. And okay, so Renee, so this is great question. So these two writers make up the writing duo that is Rachel McGuire. So we have Leanne McGuire and Leanne. Oh my gosh, my screen is backwards.
Yes.
I'm gonna take this off so that we can see. We have okay, Rachel wave. Yay, there's Rachel, and then there's
right here.
Leanne. And Rachel and Leanne together make up the writing dynamic duo of Rachel McGuire, which is a pen name. So thank you so much for asking, Renee. We're excited to welcome one of our dynamic writing duos. And she says, okay, so when we're thinking about about the how well do you know your neighbors and what if they can motor over to the next jurisdiction? And Renee says, murder by the book or any neighbor. Right, exactly. If you're living next to Murder by the Book, it's probably going to get really murdery and mayhemy quickly. Ladies, let's talk about some of the praise this book has earned. So Darby Kane, who is the #1 internationally best-selling author of Pretty Little Wife, who's been on for her last 2 books, has this to say. I'll pop it up so we can all read it together. Darby says, this is a stunning setting, timely topics, and the clash between how people act on YouTube and who they really are, fueling this twisty thriller, making it a perfect beach read. So first of all, congratulations on that blurb from #1 internationally bestselling author Darby Kane. And I was really excited to talk about influencer community, because now that people are actually making a living being influencers, some of us will do anything for fame. What inspired you to want to talk about influencer life and what people will do in pursuit of fame? Rachel.
Okay, I'll take this one. So, during the pandemic, when you couldn't really travel the way you wanted to travel, there were all these YouTube channels with these cruisers. They have Patreon accounts, people sending money to them for every video they release, in addition to the YouTube revenue and product placement and things. And so it's sort of fascinating. I mean, like many things, only the very top make any money at it, and the rest are sort of trying to make money at it because the goal is to keep sailing. I mean, this is a great life. So if you can afford it, because it is expensive to resupply, to fix your engine, to mend sails, all these things. The water, the salt water is so harsh on anything, particularly boats, and the climate. It's just really, so that's what they do to make money. They try to fund this lifestyle, right? If they don't have, trust fund accounts. And we thought that was sort of fascinating.
Wow. So I'll be honest, I had never heard of cruisers. I thought you like when I heard cruisers, I think PT Cruiser, the car.
Oh,
right.
One time when my husband and I went to a wedding in wine country outside of San Francisco, the rental car happened to be a powder blue PT Cruiser. And so when I hear cruiser, I think PT Cruiser. I had no idea that there was this whole culture of people who live in boats and just that's literally what they do. They just sail around, and it's so
Yep.
interesting because I've interviewed an author out west, actually, Glenn Eric, who grew up on a boat, but it was moored at the dock in
Right. Like a houseboat.
like a
Houseboat.
Yeah.
houseboat. So I didn't know
Yeah.
people like I
Oh,
didn't know that
yeah.
thing. So when I heard about heard about your book, I immediately Googled to see if this was true, and then was shocked to find out it's true, and that people are really doing this. That's really crazy.
Yeah. Lots and lots of people, retirees, influencers. It's the gamut, really. And they have really strong community and they rely on each other to help each other out. If you're missing a part, and it really is, we take a look at the darker side of that cruiser life, but a lot of it is really positive and wonderful how they set up these communities and they meet in the Philippines, they meet in Tahiti. They find community out on the water, and it's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, it is so cool and so different. John is joining us from Facebook from Northeast Ohio. Hey, John, good to see you. Renee wants to know, is this a debut novel?
Yes, this is our debut thriller.
So Rachel and Leanne, tell us how you guys met as a writing team.
We actually met years ago. I want to say 15 years ago in a book club in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I had lived there for a while, and Rachel had moved to Little Rock and was one of those brave people who maybe through a meetup or through a question who just plunged in and uh, uh, came into a club of strangers, and we became friends that way. And so we have, as we've talked over the years about writing a book, would love to have it become a book club selection, and being debut authors, we would love to join in everybody's book club discussion if they decide to read our book. And we've thought of certain things our ending and certain aspects that we feel would provoke a lot of discussion in book clubs. It's very dear to our hearts. I love book clubs, super enthusiastic about them.
But so did you both independently want to write a book, Rachel, and then you just decided to join forces?
Yeah, I mean, we both read, tons across genres. We talk about what's going on in the world. Leanne and I stayed in contact after I left Arkansas after about a year. And eventually she left Arkansas, went to Vancouver. But we've stayed in touch and talked about books and tossed ideas back and forth. And it just kind of happened organically through our conversations and just being friends. And, we started, writing an outline and in Scrivener, and then it had to evolve into a Google Doc that we shared back and forth. And we're very organic about the process. I probably am using that word too much, but I've met other writing teams where they're like, this person writes this character, and this person writes that character, or this chapter and that chapter. We're not like that at all. We get that document and we start sticking in whatever the character happens to be saying to us. And it is kind of fascinating because what we have, one reason I think it works for us is because if Leanne puts something in that I'm like, I'm not too sure about that, or if I do, I don't suggest she take it out. She doesn't suggest I take it out. We kind of keep it in and then send it to our beta readers and eventually an editor. And if we hear feedback that's not working, we might take it out, but we don't really police each other and our vision for the story, if that makes sense.
Oh, this is so fascinating. Oh my gosh, I love getting a peek into your process. Gretchen, welcome to the conversation, saying, oh, my Little Rock connection. Candy Hewlett will love that. Yay. Okay, we're getting some questions about the specifics of this boat. Okay, so we want to know what type of a sailboat is in this novel. Is this a sailboat? Tell us about the boat.
I can tell a funny story about that. When after, like, when we were working on the sort of revisions part of publication, I joined like a local community-based writing group. And I went to my first meeting and sat down at this table, and it was like all older men, like well into their retirement. And it turned out they were like all sailors, like they were lifelong sailors, and they're talking about their sailing experiences. And I'm like, oh, that's so amazing. Like, our book is set on a sailboat. And like their eyes like got wide with alarm, and they're just like and they're like, what is your sailing background? And I'm like, well, I saw Dead Calm. I've seen books on, like on out on the water. I live by the coast. I live by water. um and they're just absolutely horrified that I would dare write about sailing. And like, Rachel and I are both like researchers. We both like love doing deep dives and learning about different things, and that like doesn't really like show in the writing in terms of like there's not a lot of technical stuff about boats. But I'm like, oh, I did a lot of reading up on sailboats and learned, and like they were so horrified. And I'm like, this isn't like the story of the America's Cup race. This is like, it takes place in a boat, but the boat's not really going anywhere. I don't have to know a lot about like which sail to move or whatever. But so it was like this real like a thing where I was so shaken afterwards that they're just like, basically they said, this is a travesty, it's never going to work, and you should have had a sailor read your book. And I'm like, well, I didn't have a murderer read the book either. And you don't need to have every like expert like read and to give you that authenticity. And so it sort of like felt like a gatekeeping thing. But so
So
it's
the
a
sail,
very 42-foot
yes,
sailboat.
it's a mono
I like,
hull.
yes,
Yep,
yes.
yes. And
So,
I did do a little bit of sailing. I sailed for 10 days in Tahiti in 2001 on a monohull between islands. It was amazing, incredible experience, and a fairly inexpensive way actually at the time to get to the Tahitian islands and cruise around. And it was challenging. Tahiti's a really hard place to sail because there's all these coral heads, and we had to have a French captain, and it was a lot of fun. And it really does. You do feel that claustrophobic uh, sense. I mean, these boats are small, and you have a bunch of people on them. You can hear every conversation, not just on your boat, but across the water. Stuff travels across the water. You can hear it when people are fighting or drinking. It's really interesting.
That is interesting. And, Renee's asking if you two sail. So, yeah, this is so fascinating. Another author I interviewed actually packed up her 4 kids, and she and her husband decided to sail around the world and homeschool the kids for a year. And I
Wow.
was like, that sounds like my nightmare / like a terrifying idea. And because I think the scariest thing for me would be if you're stuck and you need a hospital or something. And she said, yeah, that did happen. She broke her ankle and couldn't get to a hospital. The nearest country was 10 days sail away. And I was like, like having trouble
yeah.
breathing and just thinking about that. And so it's like, it's so interesting. Oh my goodness. Alejandra, welcome to the conversation. Saying, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but I love the cover and I can't wait to read this book. So this cover is gorgeous. Tell us about the cover.
We are in love with the cover too. Crooked Lane, our publisher, sent us, as they do, a number of different ideas for covers, and this one it's stunning. The woman who did it, her name is Heather Van Heusen. I'm probably saying that wrong, but she's done some really well-known covers like Sarah Ox, The Resort, and um, uh, there's another one coming out from Crooked Lane, Girls in the Lake, I believe. And she just does incredible work. And we love the cover. It really brings that vibe of our story to life.
It is so beautiful. I totally agree. Alejandra, thank you for joining us. And thank you for the comment. And then, ladies, thank you for the inside scoop on your cover. Lisa, welcome to the conversation, saying, I can't wait to get my book delivered tomorrow. Yes, Lisa, thank you for bringing that up, because exciting news is it's not even out yet. Rachel and Leanne are joining us tonight to give us the inside scoop, the exclusive inside scoop, and take all of your most pressing questions about On the Surface. So the book is available for pre-order, and here's the link. Whether you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, you can order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. And the good folks at the bookstore will send it out to you tomorrow. So again, an Amazon editor best book pick with a rave review from Darby Kane, the #1 internationally bestselling author, and Eliza Jane Brazier, who is also on for her book, Good Rich People. And we're going to go to what she had to say about the book next. But here is that link. Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and click and pre-order it tonight. Here, meanwhile, is what Eliza had to say. She says, starting with a splash. I see what you did there, Eliza. On the Surface offers a riveting deep dive into the travel vlogger subculture, a page-turning examination of the lives we live, both on and under the surface. Now, Eliza Jane clearly knows her way around subcultures, having explored both horse culture and wealth culture in her last 2 books. So I love that she addressed that. Mm-hmm. Renee says, happy early pub day. Yes, the book comes out tomorrow. She wants to know, Rachel and Leanne, how will you celebrate? Rachel, over to you first.
My husband is going to make a stop by C's Candy Store. That's I think they're everywhere, but they're definitely here in California. Probably some champagne will be opened. Leanne?
Yeah, no, I like it. This is so terrible, but I have like this. Yeah, no, I have a really regular day of like, I have like a child doctor appointment that I've got to go to. It's like, oh, where's my glamorous author life? Yeah, it's like I will have to find something fun to do. But I haven't gone. We've been looking forward to it for so long, and I can't believe it's here. And there'll be some champagne at the end of the day, I'm sure.
Yay! And Renee is saying that the sailors at your meeting probably thought that women couldn't sail either. So don't worry about them, Leanne. That sounds about right. I love that. Oh, and she's saying that she knows some retired friends that basically do the same with RVs. That's such a good point. I do know someone who does that with an RV. I just didn't know that people do it on the water. So that is so fascinating.
It's like a van life, but cruisers. So
van life, but for cruisers out on the water. Mm-hmm. Renee says, Leanne, you have to celebrate. You only have one day to travel. You go to the doctor's
thank you.
Stay home and like put your feet up and have champagne and have balloons and do something so fabulous and so fun. Someone's asking about the woman who, the author whose children who sailed around the world. Yes, it was Rose Carlisle. The archived interview is on my Mystery and Thriller Mavens website if you want to rewatch it. It is crazy. Yeah, she's talking about how they were marooned because the boat needed a part. I was like, this is literally the stuff of nightmares. Like,
it's amazing. They are brave. They bring some of these people travel with their families and homeschool, as you said, and these kids grow up with these incredible experiences, this multicultural. It's really amazing.
It really is amazing. Okay, here's a good question. How did you get your editor and agent? Yeah, so tell us the story of, so you met in a book club in Arkansas. That now, Leanne, you moved to Canada, and Rachel, you moved to California. How you then decided to co-write this book? What about your journey to publication, starting with how you got an agent?
So the interesting thing is we submitted to Crooked Lane Books, which is one of the few, and they are one of the few sort of legit publishing houses that don't require agented submissions, which is, I'm sure, means a lot of reading through things. So we submitted just to them, actually, and sort of wanted to wait and see. We got some revise and resubmit notes from Jess Verity, she's an editor for Alcove Press and Crooked Lane Books. But she loved it. And she was like, make some changes. That first 50 pages needs to really, really light up. And so we did. We revised it, resubmitted it, and then it was, went down that editing journey with them, and got obviously got an offer, and then went down the editing path with them. And we've been super happy with them. They're a great publisher. Our audiobook was acquired by Dreamscape Media. They cast the book with 5 voice actors, it's so cinematic to listen to the book. They're amazing. It's Frankie Corzo, Evan Sibley, Shantae McCormick, Savi De Etage, and David Bandera. And they do an amazing job.
And people always want to know if you got to audition the voices.
Yes, that was really cool, right, Leanne?
It was, one of my favorite parts. Like, one of those jobs that I always felt like would be the dream job, like being a casting agent. And it was really fun to listen to all the different choices we had for each role, and we're so happy with how it came out. It's really fun. It's a really fun audiobook. I love audiobooks, so I was excited that we got such a great one.
Yeah, and it's all about getting the right voice, I think. So, that's so great that you have 5 great voices. Kimberly, welcome to the conversation, saying that is so awesome. Yes, I totally agree. Renee saying there have been some wonderful novels published by Crooked Lane recently. That's so true, Renee. I was just telling them when Lynn Reeves Griffin came on last year, and she was one of the New York Times rave reviews, best book of the year. And Crooked Lane is just hitting it out of the park. It's so interesting to watch there, to see how fantastic they're doing. It's so great. Okay, we have just 3 minutes left. So let's get to some of the questions that were submitted in advance. Mary wants to know if you had any difficulties co-writing together.
Well, I know that Rachel cut some of my jokes, and each one is like a scar on my heart that I'll never forget. But other than that, no.
Why'd you do that, Rachel?
Oh no, her jokes are still in there. She's kidding. The funny bits are a lot of Leanne, as you can probably tell. There's and a lot of the characterizations are from wherever Leanne's imagination takes her. It's pretty cool. And writing with someone else is writing is such a lonely business, as you know, Sarah. And when you do it with someone, it's actually really fun. Yeah. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. And honestly, I can't imagine doing it without Rachel. It makes everything so much better that I don't know why anyone would write by themselves, because not only do you have someone to share the duties with, but you also have someone who's is invested in the outcome. And we get to read every review together, and so it takes a lot of the pressure off of you have someone to share everything with. And it's just been a really fun journey together, and I highly recommend it.
I love that. Yeah, I remember when Andrew Child and Lee Child were on, and Lee was saying that before he started co-writing with Andrew, his wife would get annoyed because he would get so immersed in the weeds of the novel. Did his character walk, or did he sashay, or did he strut, or did he run, or did he meander, or he would be just obsessing over word choice. And he said nobody else cares as deeply as I did, until he had a co-writer, and all of a sudden, Andrew would be like, he meandered, he strolled, yeah.
Right.
And
that's exactly it, though. It's someone who's as invested as you are. So
exactly. Carolyn, welcome to the conversation, saying congratulations, I can't wait to read it. Yay. Ooh, a question about the title. Renee wants to know, did you get to come up with the title? Tell us about that.
Great. So that's a funny one. We had the title of The Shallows through most of the writing process, and then soon after our offer, they were like, oh, there's another book coming out with that same title around the same time that's also a thriller. You know how that goes. So we kind of went back to the drawing board, and I think we're both really happy with On the Surface. The Shallows and On the Surface both hinted at what these characters are like,
Right.
which is morally gray is even sort of a stretch.
Yeah.
I know. I always
And that
people will.
ending. Oh my God, that ending. Yeah, exactly. So interesting. Yeah, and someone else just came out with a Broadway Butterfly, and I was not happy.
Oh,
So yes, I can imagine that that I know exactly what you mean actually, and in that case, I was the first one with it, and they didn't change. The new person didn't change theirs, so we'll see how that goes.
Right.
Renee saying she is putting on the service on her TBR. Yay!
Oh, yay.
Robin, welcome to the conversation. Saying sliding in late sounds like you are having so much fun. 100 degrees here in the
Ooh.
Coeur d'Alene. I know it feels like 100 degrees here too, Robin. I hear you. Well, we've got some thrills and chills to shiver down your spine and cool you off. Rachel and Leanne, thank you so much for joining us here for this exclusive sneak peek the night before the book comes out, giving us all of the details, spilling the tea. Here again is that link, whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube. Be sure to click and pre-order, support our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore, currently getting pummeled by Hurricane Beryl, but they're going to be fine. So here is that link, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. Give it a click, give the book a read, and let us know what you think. Leanne and Rachel, thank you so much for joining us. Lisa says thank you. Renee, oh my goodness, I can't even get to them fast enough. Renee is clapping for us. Renee, thank you so much for such a great discussion. So great to have you all.
Thank you,
Sarah. Thank you. We really appreciate it. So exciting.
Thank you for spending your Mystery Monday with us. I'll be back at the top of the hour with May Cobb and the Inside Scoop on the Hollywood Assistant. Go get a snack, a drink, and stay tuned till then. Rachel and Leanne, congratulations on your debut thriller, and come back when book number 2 is out.
Okay, thank you.
Love to.
Yay!